I'm feeling very left out. I can't hear the banter.
It was all about you, Tony.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the October 10th Committee of Adjustment meeting for the Township of Georgian Bay. I call this meeting to order at 10:01 a.m. I'm sorry, okay. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that we are working on lands traditionally occupied by the Indigenous peoples. The Indigenous people continue to care for this land and continue to shape our township. We show our respect and will continually honor the treaties that were signed as we consider our decisions and actions. I would also ask all those members present and online, do we have any declarations of pecuniary or conflict of interest?
No.
Okay, seeing none, we have distributed the minutes from our September the 12th meeting. I assume everybody has had an opportunity to review those. Are there any questions or concerns about the minutes? Okay. Seeing none, I will read the resolution. It is moved by Member Matthews and seconded by Member Predko. Be it resolved that the Township of Georgian Bay Committee of Adjustment approves the minutes of September 12, 2025. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. The motion is carried and the minutes are accepted. This morning, there's a public meeting scheduled for 2 consent applications. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the application on this agenda, please add your name to the contact list in front of us here, or if you're online, you can do so through our website. I'll briefly summarize the procedure to be utilized for the meeting. First, the clerk will advise the committee as to when, how, and to whom notice of each of the hearings was circulated for the applications being considered. Next, each of the applications will be considered separately. Planning staff will advise as to the purpose and effect of the applications and provide any information that is relevant. The clerk will summarize any correspondence on file, and from there, the applicant can make a brief presentation if they so choose, and the public will have an opportunity to speak to the applications being considered. After the public forum, the committee will then deliberate on the proposed applications and consider a motion to pass, defeat, or defer the decision. The consent application being considered this morning is 2 parts. B25-07 for 800 Haskets Drive and B25-08 for 802 Haskets Drive. To the clerk, please.
Notice of each of these applications was sent by first-class mail by the respective owners and assessed persons within 120 meters, 500 meters, or 800 meters, and to those persons and agencies likely to have an interest in the application. The notices were sent at least 20 days prior to this morning's meeting. Included in each notice was an explanation of the purpose and effect of the application and a key map showing the location of the property. Other relevant information may have also been provided. These circulations were provided in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act 1990.
Thank you. We'll be considering these 2 applications, the consent applications together, B25-07 and B25-08. To the planner, please.
Thank you, and through the chair. Subject properties gaining access to Haskets Drive by way of easement have shoreline frontage onto 6 Mile Lake. 2 of the subject properties are currently developed within locally appropriate residential and accessory uses, while the other is vacant. At this time, there are no development applications proposed for the vacant lands. The purpose and effect of the application is to grant easements over 2 properties to provide 3 properties in total legal access to Haskets Drive. Application B2508, as known as easement 2 within the public notice. Will grant an easement to provide access over lot 4 for the benefit of lot 5 and 6. Application B25-07, known as easement 1 within the public notice, will grant an easement to provide ingress and egress over lot 5 for the benefits of lot 4 and 6. The only portion of the proposed easements that will represent a new driveway is part 4, which will provide additional access to 808 Haskets Drive, being lot 6. Currently, 808 Haskets Drive is a vacant shoreline residential property, zone 6 Mile Lake residential. The property stakes highlighted in red in the picture on screen represent the location of the proposed new driveway. Within the remainder of the proposed easement boundaries, a single lane, well-maintained gravel driveway currently exists. Granting the proposed easements would legalize the already existing multi-access driveway and grant the ability for Lot 6 to be municipally addressed. Please note that the existing driveway meanders back onto Lot 4 in Part 1 to avoid an existing unevaluated wetland that exists on the northern extent of Lots 5 and 6. A culvert exists at the portion of the driveway directly adjacent to the wetland. There's an ongoing Drainage Act petition regarding the unevaluated wetlands in the immediate area. Condition of approval number 3 was amended to the following: that the applicant obtain confirmation from the engineer acting on behalf of the Drainage Act petitioners that local drainage patterns associated with the existing driveway are satisfactory. And further, that the applicant is responsible for the design and cost of any upgrades or retrofits to the driveway that the petitioner's engineer may determine necessary for local drainage purposes. Staff's understanding is that the drainage issues in the area are to be evaluated through the Drainage Act petition. Condition 3 was added in an abundance of caution due to the shared concerns amongst community members and is dependent upon the Drainage Act petition evaluation. If the evaluation finds that there is no connection between the existing driveway and the adjacent drainage concerns, the applicant would not be required to facilitate any upgrades or retrofits. To be clear, the committee has options on how to proceed with the application before them. The committee may either approve or deny the easements being requested. The committee may defer the application to a later date if additional information is required to come to a decision. Planning staff are recommending approval subject to the conditions. Thank you.
The following correspondence has been received. One letter was received from Kelly Nicholson, Chief Building Official, stating she has no concerns with the applications. One letter was received from the District of Muskoka, stating they have no objection to the applications. One letter of objection was received from Steve Fisher, opposing easement number 1. He believes no easement should proceed until drainage issues are resolved. Property 802 is part of the Drainage Act partition, and easement number 2 reflects ongoing water problems near lots 5 and 6. This is why 800 and 802 have always shared a driveway from Haskets Drive. One letter of objection was received from R&T Stewart regarding the public hearing notice, stating they support easement 2, part 1, only if there is no change to the existing road. If road construction is planned, they do not support it. They oppose easement 1, stating the easement appears to support a new road through swampy areas on lots 5 and 6, which are subject to a Drainage Act petition. Construction could impact drainage. They question the absence of an easement for part 2 and suggest one may be needed if the matter is deferred. One letter of support was received from Scott Rogers. He notes that the shared driveway has long been used by both property owners and was built to avoid a long-standing natural swamp on Mr. Smith's land. Despite the ongoing drainage discussions, he supports the request to formalize use of the existing driveway. One letter was received from Burnside and Associates, stating they are in support of the easement but do not support the recommended condition number 3.
Okay.
I believe their agent is online. I will bring him over.
James Hunter. Please identify yourself for the record, and we look forward to any comments you may offer.
Yeah, good morning, committee. My name is James Hunter of Morgan Planning Development. So I'm here this morning on behalf of the applicants. I do have a short presentation that I can share here, so just give me a moment. Just like to confirm that the screen is showing.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so again, thank you for hearing us this morning. So we're here today for the committee application for the properties known as 800 Haskets Drive and 802 and 808 Haskets Drive. So Andrew touched on this briefly. So again, both properties are on 6 Mile Lake. They're both used currently as recreational waterfront properties, and they're both privately serviced. So similarly, they have a single detached dwelling on Haskets Drive and 802 with an existing dock on 800. The vehicle access is both provided by that common driveway that was previously shown. And both properties, as I noted, have 50 meters for 800 Haskets Drive of waterfront frontage and 17 meters on Haskets Drive. 800 has a lot area of 0.46 hectares, where 802 has an area of 0.44. So ultimately, you have waterfront and driveway access into this property. Just to highlight the properties, so we're here representing actually the Lenk family and the Smith family. So the Smith family has owned these properties for a substantial amount of time. So this existing driveway configuration has been in for over 40 years. What has happened is the Lenk family has purchased the 800 property here. And what they're looking to do is just really secure long-term access through these legal easements to ensure that they don't have any issues. So as you can see, the white here is approximately the existing driveway, as Plater noted. It does kind of cross both property lines, but provides access into the Lenk property here. Smith's existing property 802, and they also own 808. Just like to highlight that there is no development changes proposed on any of the properties to this application. We're just simply asking for these easements to have legal access and rights through the driveway. So here's some existing photos going into the property, and then again, just highlighting the shared access. As noted, it is SR6 zone and is designated waterfront area. And then really just to highlight again, so the purpose of the consent application is to establish easements to permit the shared driveway. And this is between the both ownerships. So again, this will ensure legal and functional access for both landowners. The mutual easements are proposed to establish shared access arrangements via the common driveway, and that does traverse both properties. So again, there's kind of a highlighting point here that we've talked about. So there's independent access to a public road, and providing a second driveway would not be really feasible due to natural limitations of the site. So ultimately, the goal is to ensure that both properties maintain reliable and unobstructed access to the property. And again, no changes to the existing access onto the drive. So ultimately, what we're here for is there's a draft plan that I will show in a second. So easements will be secured, which will permit the driveway access across the three properties. So this is actually sort of this orientation is just east-west, given the scale of the screen, but this is the driveway access off the road. This is the waterfront side, as Andrew noted. So there's a few different parts that we're seeking, ultimately, which will secure these easements through a reference plan with the property owners. We did submit a detailed planning justification report outlining the easements, intent of the application, and conformity with applicable policy. So that was included with the submission. And ultimately, again, just to formalize a long-standing shared access driveway between 800, 802, and 800 or 808, sorry, Haskets Drive, through the creation of legal easements. So what we're looking to do again is provide clarity of access rights between the separate property owners and avoid unnecessary environmental disturbance associated with constructing a second driveway. And ultimately, we believe that these applications are consistent with all provincial planning and district and township planning documents. Thank you, committee. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions directed our way.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Is there anyone else on behalf of the applicant that wishes to address this committee? Okay, seeing none, I will request, is there any member of the public, either present or online, that wishes to address the committee on this application? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public portion of the meeting and bring the application before the committee for any questions or comments. And, Member Jarvis. You had a question?
Good morning, and to you, Chair Hill. Thank you very much. Appreciate the additional comment put into the recommendation regarding the Drainage Act. In light of the fact that Haskett's Drive just doesn't seem to go away one way or the other. We seem to be always discussing Haskett's Drive for one reason or another, whether it's Planning Council or Committee of Adjustment. I am curious to know if not, this road, this easement has been there for how many years again? Already?
I think it was 40 years.
Yeah, okay. I unfortunately did not get a chance to go up and have a look at it, but it looks like it's pretty straightforward to me. And sorry, does the applicant have any issue with the confirmation of getting an engineer and to check the to talk with the Drainage Act petitioners?
Sorry, through you, Chair. My screen's kind of locked here, so I'm looking off to the side. But we've spoken with staff about the condition. We would prefer to have that condition removed. However, it sounds like from speaking with staff that through their security on their end for maintaining, maintaining that application for security of the adjacent resident. So although our preference is to have it removed, we do understand the recommendation from staff.
Yeah, I think it's pretty relevant considering the situation with regards to the petitioners with regards to drainage up there. But thank you for that information. That's all I needed to know.
Okay. Thank you. Were there any further questions or comments from the committee? Member Predko, please.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. Yeah, my question is really along the same lines as Member Jarvis, who was asking about the Drainage Act issues and condition number 3. And now I realize these driveways are long established, and assigning or creating the easements doesn't change the drainage or the responsibility for addressing the drainage. But I am curious, condition number 3 speaks to the existing driveways, but not to the proposed segment number 4, that new piece that would go to 808 Haskett Drive. And I'm just wondering if that is because it's not affected by the drainage issues currently, and so you don't anticipate what the drainage problems might be, or that if they make that driveway, it's going to be very localized and it's the same owner and there's not a current concern about drainage issues with that new potential driveway.
Through the chair, yeah, that's correct. You're along the right lines there. We don't believe that the additional driveway is within the scope of the Drainage Act petition issue. It is well out of the wetland area. And again, the primary concern with condition 3 is for the existing driveway at the point that it accesses Haskett's Drive.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any further questions or comments by the committee? Okay, seeing none, I will read the resolution. It is moved by Member Jarvis, seconded by Member Predko. Be it resolved that the Township of Georgian Bay Committee of Adjustment hereby grants provisional approval to consent applications B25-07 and B25-08 for the creation of easements to grant an easement over Lot 5 for the benefit of Lots 4 and 6, and to grant an easement over Lot 4 for the benefit of Lots 5 and 6. For Plan 35M-468, known municipally as 800 and 802 Haskett's Drive, as shown in Schedule A, attached to this decision and subject to the following conditions. 1, that the owner provide a property tax certificate or correspondence from Township Financial Services indicating that all property taxes have been paid to date with respect to the property that is subject to this decision. And 2, that this decision applies only to the easements as indicated on Schedule A, attached to and forming part of this decision, and easements shall substantially conform with Schedule A. And 3, that the applicant obtain confirmation from the engineer acting on behalf of the Drainage Act petitioners that local drainage patterns associated with the existing driveway are satisfactory. And further, that the applicant is responsible for the design and costs of any upgrades or retrofits to the driveway that the petitioner's engineer may determine necessary for local drainage purposes. Then 4, that a reference plan be completed and digital copy and hard copy be filed with the Township Planning Department, or an exception from the reference plan be received from the registrar. And 5, that pursuant to section 53, subsection 42 of the Planning Act, the certificate of consent be affixed to the deed within 2 years of the giving of notice of decision. Note that section 53, subsection 43 of the Planning Act requires that the transaction approved by this consent must be carried out within 2 years of the issuance of the certificate. And 6, that the owner provide a draft transfer prepared by a solicitor describing the legal description of the dominant and servient lands subject to the creation of this easement. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. The motion is carried and the application is approved. Also this morning, there is a public meeting scheduled for 2 minor variance applications. As mentioned before, if you wish to be notified, please register your name here or online, and the same procedure that we discussed earlier will apply. Madam Clerk, has there been any correspondence on these? Or can you tell us about how the notification was sent for these applications?
So notice of each of the applications was sent by first class mail to the respective owners and assessed persons within 120 meters, 500 meters, or 800 meters, and to those persons or agencies likely to have an interest in the application. The notices were sent at least 20 days prior to this morning's meeting. Included in each notice was an explanation, the purpose and effect of the application, and a key map showing the location of the property. Other relevant information may have also been provided. These circulations were provided in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act 1990.
Thank you. The 2 minor variance applications being considered this morning are A25-40 for 170 Red Hawk Road and A25-41 for 944 Island 3420 in Georgian Bay. And we'll begin with 170 Red Hawk Road. To the planner, please.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. The subject property has an area of 2.9 acres with frontage of 61.1 meters onto Wild Rice Bay of 6 Mile Lake. The subject lands are densely vegetated with the majority of tree clearing occurring for the driveway access and within building envelopes and the immediate surrounding areas. In order to develop the property with the detached garage expansion as proposed, variances to the zoning bylaw are required to address height, ground floor area, and interior side yard setback. A maximum height of 6.3 meters is proposed, whereas section 4.1.15A permits a maximum height of 4.5 meters. A maximum ground floor area of 156.36 square meters is proposed, whereas 4.1.15D permits a maximum ground floor area of 112 square meters. And a minimum interior side yard setback of 2 meters is proposed, whereas section 4.1.7B permits a minimum interior side yard setback of 5 meters. The subject property is currently occupied by a detached dwelling only. The dwelling is accessed via a single lane gravel driveway that's otherwise undeveloped and densely vegetated. The subject property has a current lot coverage of 1.72%. The proposed detached garage will increase the lot coverage to 3.04%, whereas a lot coverage of 8% is permitted within the SR6 zone. Given the tree clearing is limited to the development envelopes and the significant elevation gain from the shoreline to the development area, the proposed detached garage is expected to be non-visible from the water and is not expected to conflict with location of neighboring sightlines and amenity areas. The gross floor area expansion is occurring through the creation of additional enclosed space. Oh, pardon me, this is the incorrect slide information. So, the proposed detached garage front facade mimics that of the existing dwelling. To be clear, the proposed detached garage remains subordinate and incidental to the existing dwelling and attached deck having a lesser height and ground floor area. Please note that in accordance with the Township of Georgian Bay zoning bylaw, when applied to a detached garage, building height is measured as an average between the height measured on each side of the building. Given the elevated storage loft along the rear wall of the garage, the roof line is shortened, increasing the building height to 6.3 meters. If measured at the front wall only, the detached garage would be measured at a height of 5.96 meters. The committee may either approve or deny the variances being requested. The committee may also defer the application to a later date if additional information is required to come to a decision. Planning staff have completed a detailed analysis of the proposed variances and are recommending approval subject to conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, has there been any correspondence on this application?
One letter was received from Kelly Nicholson, Chief Building Official, stating building permits will be required. 9 letters of support were received from Christine Weslinski, Dan Orchard, Dave and Pat Elsie, Eric Verstig, Mike Bradley, Robin Lisa Lozen, Gary Lyons, Mark Frederickson, and Glenn Lyons.
Thank you. Is the applicant or their agent present? And if so, please come forward and identify yourself.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Victoria Hoffman on behalf of Flow Drawings and Design, 3 Violet Drive, Port Severn. The report and the presentation, as always, kind of walks you guys through it. The intent for this structure was to model and design it based off to match the existing dwelling that's there. The dwelling it's a 1.5 story and it's got quite a tall roof line itself. So from the front, it gives it a 9-meter building height. As Andrew mentioned, the 6.3 meter that we're requesting is an average on the 4 sides. The side that you're going to see is the kind of steeper sloped side, with the intention of bringing it lower from the side that you see. So that's the 5.96 meters on that side. The other side, there's no neighbors over there. These only got neighbors on the one side. This garage is 268 feet from the water, and it's like 453 from the rear lot line. So it's really not going to be seen. It's quite vegetated too. Our view from the canoe, I don't think it won't be impacted at all. The increase in size was intended just to make the space fit what he needs, the goals for the building. He did give us a cover letter, which I had submitted. I don't know if I think it would have been included in the documents that were sent out. Yeah, and in that letter, he kind of outlined all the things that he wanted in the building to make it kind of worth his while. Yeah, and again, there's no neighbor on the one side where we're looking for the 2-meter reduction in side setback. I think when he originally started this process, he had it in his head that it was a residential lot, so he was shooting for the 2 meters. But then, kind of as the tables turned, he realized that because it's a waterfront, it's the 5 meters that he's supposed to meet. His cottage is kind of centrally located on the property, and he doesn't want to like overdevelop one area given the size of his property. So he didn't want to crowd the garage in front of the cottage. He wanted to kind of push it to the side. So I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay.
The owner's online too, but he's just kind of watching. So.
All right, thank you very much. Is there any member of the public that wishes to address the committee on this application? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public portion of the meeting and bring the application before the committee for any questions or concerns. Member Matthews.
Thank you, Mr. Chair Hill. Victoria, thanks for that explanation about the 2 meters, because that looks like a big lot and there's lots of room to move it forward, but it's going to affect the sight line from the cottage.
It was the cottage coming in, and also just a little bit of the rock slopes and stuff like that. It was just the more buildable spot.
Okay, I don't have a problem with that. The only, I guess, other comment I might make to particularly Director Whitlock is we seem to get a lot of applications now in the area looking for larger garages. When we're doing the official plan amendment, perhaps we could look at increasing the sizes so that not everyone has to come forward to us. Though it was a pleasure to have them here.
Through the chair, thank you for that comment. So as part of a comprehensive review of official plans or a zoning bylaw, one of the pieces of background work that's done is to look at common variances requested that are frequently requested and potentially frequently approved by the municipality through the Committee of Adjustment. And that can be an indicator that there's a need to change something to meet a community need in response to a form of development that, you know, is generally appropriate and considered satisfactory. So yeah, long way of saying we'll look at that.
Okay, thank you. I see a hand up from Member Graziano.
Thank you, and through you, Chair Hill, to our clerk, Ms. Wade, could you repeat those that approved and those the letters that we've received in support versus those that are not supporting this? I didn't quite hear that, and I'm sorry, I had a little bit of technical issues.
So one letter was received from our chief building official stating building permits will be required. And then we received 9 letters of support and no letters of objection.
Great, thank you so much.
Okay. Member Jarvis.
Thank you, Chair Hill. And through you, a couple quick questions. One for planning department. This is backing on in the to Crown Land, and that's where that the 2 meters comes in as opposed to 5. Do we ever get or go to, I guess it's provincial government, to find out if it's okay? Do we build something that close to Crown Land? We do it with neighbors.
Through the chair. Because of that proximity, the province, specifically the M&R district office, Parry Sound, would have been circulated and would have had the opportunity to comment. If they had any concerns, they could have raised them.
And have we, to your knowledge, in your term of office here, seen any comment back from M&R on this type of application?
I don't. I'm looking at my staff across the way here, and they're all shaking their heads no. So,
do we have the correct address for the M&R? Okay, and then one final question. It says in the report something to do with which the proposed building will remain substantially and proportionately in conformity with the dimension set up. No, hang on. Something to do with it remaining smaller than the main building. To me, it looks like it's bigger than the main building is.
Through the chair, for detached garages in terms of size, we measure in ground floor area. So the existing dwelling plus the attached deck, which all contribute to ground floor area in that case, is larger in size than that of the detached dwelling. And same with the height, as the height's measured from the water side of the dwelling, it is larger in height as well.
Interesting. Okay. And then finally, with your indulgence, Chair Hill, the design of this garage is obviously, I understand, in conformity with the rest of the property, makes sense to me. But it looks like I mean, what are they going to be putting in there? It almost looks like it's a commercial operation.
I'm not sure, Victoria, if you have further correspondence from the owners and what they intend to store.
We've chatted about that. It's not. It's just a personal structure. It's a classic case of them wanting to move up here and putting all of their. I don't have his cover letter in front of me, unfortunately, but I know he outlined what he was going to be putting in the space.
Stuff to put in that garage. Okay, thank you.
Well, and with the storage too, like that's kind of why we bumped the height up. So it was, he's really only getting the proper storage on the one side with the stair headroom for building code, but the front, he's not going to, it's just going to be low lying because of that big roof slope that comes down. And we had talked about putting dormers on the front to match the cottage, but same thing, we were worried about the building height crawling up even higher. And just, so that is kind of, the original goal was to make it look very, very similar to the cottage, but the dormers we didn't want to.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, if there are no further questions or comments, I'll read the resolution. It is moved by Member Graziano, seconded by Member Schmidt. Be it resolved that the Township of Georgian Bay Committee of Adjustment approves minor variance application A25-40 to zoning bylaw 2014-75 as amended for 170 Red Hawk Road to facilitate the construction of a detached garage as described below. 1, a building height of 6.3 meters, whereas 4.5 meters is permitted. A ground floor area of 152.36 square meters, whereas ground floor area of 112 square meters is permitted. An interior side yard setback of 2 meters, whereas an interior minimum interior side yard setback is 5 meters. The above noted approvals are subject to the following conditions: that the owner provide a property tax certificate or correspondence from Township Financial Services indicating that all property taxes have been paid up to date with respect to the property that is subject to this decision. And 2, that a proposed detached garage be substantially and proportionately in conformity with the dimensions as set out on the application and sketches submitted and approved by the committee. And 3, that the owner obtain a final occupancy for the detached dwelling prior to the issue of the zoning certificate for the detached garage, and that the appropriate zoning certificate and building permit be obtained within 3 years from the date of the decision from the township, only after the committee's decision becomes final and binding. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. Thank you. The motion is carried and the application is approved. Thank you. Our next application is A25-41 for 944 Island 3420 in Georgian Bay. To the planner, please.
Through the chair. The subject property has an area of 54,830 square meters and a frontage of approximately 170 meters on Big Island in Go Home Bay. The lands are designated waterfront within the district and township official plans, with a portion of the rear being located within a heritage area. The property is zoned Go Home Bay Shoreline Residential, with the exception of approximately 5,600 square meters of land, which is zoned Environmental Protection Wetland. A small bay abutting the lands contains Type 1 fish habitat, while the remainder of the shoreline is identified as Type 2 fish habitat. The purpose and effect of the application is to seek relief from the zoning bylaw to facilitate the expansion of the detached dwelling, which will result in a gross floor area of 248.84 square meters, whereas Section 741A permits a maximum gross floor area of 200 square meters. The applicant is proposing a 10.93 square meter addition onto the front of the dwelling over a portion of the existing deck, as well as a 37.91 square meter addition onto the rear. The proposed development is approximately 285 meters from the heritage area in the rear. The additions are proposed in areas clear of vegetation, and the dwelling will remain one story. As illustrated in the front elevation plan, the front addition will not alter the existing roof line. The front addition will be used as a reading room, while the rear addition will be used as a 3-season room containing a fireplace, powder room, and closet. The size of the structure in relation to the shoreline frontage, the lot area, and the low density and low intensity nature of the waterfront community, the siting of the development to minimize impact on existing development and to provide privacy, the reduction of the visual impact of the development from the water, including but not limited to building height, and the built form guidelines of the Go Home Bay waterfront community policies and any design guidelines developed for the waterfront community are additional policies that apply when considering a minor variance in this waterfront community. The goal of the waterfront community's built form guidelines is to protect the character of the Go Home Bay waterfront community as a low density, low intensity wilderness cottage area by regulating the size and height of new cottages and additions and renovations to existing cottages and sites, as well as providing clear guidelines respecting docks, boathouses, sheds, and other accessory buildings and structures. To further align with the community's objectives, the Go Home Bay Shoreline Residential Island Zone requires a minimum front yard setback of 20 meters. Both additions exceed this requirement, with setbacks of 26.77 meters and 27.38 meters respectively. The proposed development will be screened by mature trees, and the granite rock shoreline will remain a dominant visual feature, helping to maintain the natural aesthetic of the community. The committee can either approve or deny the requested variance. The committee can defer the application to a later date if additional information is required to come to a decision. Planning staff are recommending approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, have we received correspondence on this application?
One letter was received from Kelly Nicholson, Chief Building Official, stating building permits will be required and septic review will need to be completed. One letter was received from the Severn Sound Environmental Association, stating they do not have any natural heritage comments with respect to the proposal. And 2 letters of support were received from Bridget Finlayson and the Madawaska Club.
Thank you. I see that the applicant and their agent are online.
The agent is present.
The agent is present, yes. Okay, Mr. Sheehan. If you have anything to add to the planner's comments, please turn on your microphone and give us your name and address.
Hi, it's Kevin Sheehan, Sheehan Consulting Services, and I'm from Penetang. I'm acting on behalf of Harris, John, Bonnie. John apologizes, he was on for the first half hour, but he has a board meeting with his company, so he travels a lot. So he apologizes. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Is there anything you wish to add to what the planner provided so far?
No, we were on site, and I think from a neighbor's perspective, John and Bonnie have been working with them to make sure that there's no issues with, sight lines and things like that. There's a lot of evergreen trees that protect this, especially the back room, which is the biggest. So I think they've sent in notices saying they're supportive of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any member of the public, either present or online, that wishes to comment on this application? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public portion of the meeting and bring the application before the committee for any questions or comments. And we'll begin with Member Matthews.
Thank you, Chair Hill. Shania, just for clarity, the existing deck that's there now, that's not included in GFA because it's just a deck? And now that we're enclosing it, it's adding to the GFA?
Through the chair, that is correct.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So the view from the landscape, the footprint isn't really changing on the front. Right, thank you.
Okay. Are there any further questions or comments from committee? Okay, seeing none, I will read the resolution. It is moved by Member Schmidt, seconded by Member Matthews. Be it resolved that the Township of Georgian Bay Committee of Adjustment hereby approves the following variance requested for a dwelling extension under minor variance application A25-41. A detached dwelling having a maximum gross floor area of 248.84 square meters, whereas section 4.1.7.4.1A permits a maximum gross floor area of 200 square meters, and subject to the following conditions. 1, that the owner provide a property tax certificate or correspondence from the Township Financial Services indicating that all property taxes have been paid to date with respect to the property that is subject to this decision. 2, that the proposed development be substantially and proportionately in conformity with the dimensions as set out on the application and sketches submitted and approved by the committee. And 3, that the appropriate zoning certificate and building permit be obtained within 3 years from the date of the decision from the township, only after the committee's decision becomes final and binding. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. The motion is carried and the application is approved. I would like to thank everybody for their participation in today's public meetings. I have one final resolution. It is moved by Member Smith, seconded by Member Graziano. Be it resolved that the Township of Georgian Bay Committee of Adjustment does now adjourn at 10:45 a.m. until November 7, 2025 at 10 a.m. or at the call of the chair. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. The motion is carried and the meeting is adjourned.
Thanks very much, everybody. Have a great Thanksgiving.
See you, Tony.
Have a good
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye, everybody.